Have you ever thought about what it really takes to change? I mean, to really become something new, something more. We like to think of growth as this gentle, kind of additive process. But what if real, profound change demands a violent, sacrificial act? Yeah, let's dive into that brutal, but pretty fascinating idea.
So to really wrap our heads around this, we need to talk about a truly unique threat, a being known as the Iron Queen. And this one line, man, it tells you everything you need to know. She isn't just using dark magic, she is the dark magic. She's the curse itself.
So that begs the question, right? Where does something like this even come from? Was it born? Summoned? Nope. The answer is way more terrifying than that. And that's what we're here to figure out. How, exactly, do you manufacture a nightmare from scratch?
And that is the perfect word for it, forging. See, the Iron Queen wasn't born. She wasn't created in any way we'd recognize. She was manufactured. Deliberately, violently assembled through a kind of profane, dark alchemy.
The source material even gives her this wild title, a singularity of magic. You can think of it like a black hole, but for magical power. It's this state where you fuse different components together, and what comes out the other side is something totally new, with powers that are just exponentially greater than what you put in.
So, how did this happen? Well, get this. It required 3 legendary archetypes: a demon, a dragon, and a crone. But they weren't working together. Oh no. They were the raw materials. Mephistopheles was the power source, Maleficent provided the physical body, and Baba Yaga brought the cosmic brainpower and, well, the transportation. They literally had to be broken down into their fundamental essence.
Okay, so how in the world do you take 3 of the most powerful beings in all of mythology and just turn them into ingredients? Well, you need a recipe. A very specific, very brutal ritual, designed not just to combine them, but to violently tear them apart and remake them as something else entirely. And that ritual has a name: the spinning of the void. You gotta pay attention to the language here. It wasn't a birthing or a summoning. This was an act of profane engineering, a cold, calculated process to forge this new being.
And this just lays out the sheer brutality of it all. Step 1, the grind, a literal, physical deconstruction. We're talking severed winds, blood, just raw parts. Then, step 2, the weave. This isn't some gentle merging. They use hellfire spun into thread to violently stitch them together. And finally, the ignition. A massive explosion that doesn't annihilate, but fuses. It transforms. This is, quite literally, creation through total destruction.
Okay, I know. This whole process is horrifying. But it's not random. There's a twisted logic to it. It's actually a terrifyingly literal expression of a deep philosophical idea. What could possibly justify this? Well, it's the idea that to truly go up, you first have to be willing to go way, way down.
And believe it or not, the source material ties all this horror right back to the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. The creation of this monster is basically a dark fairy tale explaining his ideas on how we transform ourselves, and it's built on 2 really key concepts.
First up, you've got this idea called Untergang, which basically means downgoing. Now, this isn't about failure or just feeling bad. It's an active, deliberate process of dismantling your old self. You literally have to tear down who you are, your old beliefs, your old forms, to make room for something new to grow. It's the price you pay.
And why on earth would anyone do that? Well, to achieve Übergang, or overgoing. That's the whole point. It's the goal, reaching a higher state of being. It's this constant journey of becoming more than you are right now. So, downgoing is the violent process, and overgoing is the transcendent result.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. The philosophy and the ritual. They're a perfect match. The grind and the weave, that is the Untergang. It's the literal, violent dismantling of the self. And the ignition? That's the Übergang. It's the creation of this new, transcendent being whose power is so much greater than the sum of its parts. It's a terrifying, but perfect parallel.
Now, this whole idea doesn't just apply to creating one super monster. The source material shows this exact same dynamic playing out on a cosmic scale. We're talking a high-stakes metaphysical bet for the entire future of the human race.
The principle is exactly the same. Violent transformation is necessary, but the trigger is totally different. It's not some internal alchemical ritual. It's an external threat, a confrontation with total and complete annihilation that forces the change.
So you've got this cosmic conflict between two opposing forces. On one side, there's the Votan archetype, which is all about the will to overcome, to affirm your existence. And on the other side, you've got Darkseid and his anti-life equation, the ultimate negation of self, just pure viral nothingness. The wager is basically this: can humanity, when faced with absolute horror, transform itself and become more?
And that confrontation isn't just some abstract threat. It's a full-on apocalyptic invasion that ramps up from psychological horror to a catastrophic physical war. This whole invasion isn't just a plot point. It is the catalyst. It's the external force that demands a species-wide Untergang, a collective downgoing, so that humanity can survive and maybe, just maybe, achieve its own Übergang.
So, what do we have when we put it all together? We've got a monster forged in a dark ritual and a cosmic war for the soul of humanity. Two totally different stories that are, somehow, telling us the exact same thing about the true nature of change.
It all boils down to this one powerful idea, a profound rejection of standing still. It doesn't matter if you're three mythological beings stuck in your old ways or an entire species facing extinction. The only path forward requires that the old self is sacrificed so a new one can be born.
And that really is the heart of this whole thing. The creation of a monster and the potential evolution of humanity are two sides of the exact same coin. Both show that to get to a higher state of being, whether that's for good or for pure evil, you have to go through a difficult, painful, and often violent process of dismantling what you are right now.
Which leaves us with a pretty tough question. This isn't just about cosmic gods and philosophy. If this principle really holds true, if transformation truly demands sacrifice, then what part of you, what old belief or habit, has to be destroyed for you to become more?